My name is Diego, and I was there when Olivia's story changed forever. It was a crisp autumn morning on October 12, 2021, in a quaint cafe in our hometown. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air as Olivia sat across from her ex-husband, her eyes flickering with a mix of hope and uncertainty. She stood firm, yet her heart raced like a caged bird, unsure of what would unfold. As she smiled, the gentle tinkling of wind chimes outside seemed to mock her fragile composure, each note echoing the betrayal that had haunted her for years. She smiled but trembled, a mask of confidence worn over a tempest of emotions. How can blood turn to poison like this? What nobody knew was that the revelation she was about to share would shatter the delicate balance of her life, sending shockwaves through everything she held dear. For years, Olivia had been a devoted mother to their daughter, pouring every ounce of love into raising her alone after her husband abandoned them both. The pain of that abandonment had shaped her, but today she was ready to confront the past head-on. As she prepared to speak, the weight of their history hung heavily in the air, a reminder that the truth could either heal their wounds or deepen them beyond repair. Olivia stood on the porch of her charming little house, overlooking the lush green hills that rolled down to the sparkling coast of Portugal. It was a picturesque day, the sun bathing everything in a golden hue, and the scent of fresh grass wafted through the air. She took a deep breath, relishing the familiar aroma, which brought a sense of calm after years of teaching and raising her family. This small coastal town had become her sanctuary, a place where she could finally embrace the quiet life she had longed for after her retirement. Having moved here to be closer to her daughter, Sofia, and her husband, Miguel, Olivia felt a renewed sense of purpose. The local community welcomed her with open arms, and she often found herself joining in on traditional fado music nights, losing herself in the melancholic melodies that told stories of love and loss. The laughter of her new friends echoed through the cobbled streets, filling her heart with warmth. But on this day, a nagging feeling stirred within her as she prepared for the family dinner she had planned. Olivia had spent the afternoon cooking, her hands skillfully maneuvering around the vibrant ingredients of traditional Portuguese dishes. The sounds of distant traffic from the road below seemed to fade into the background as she poured her love into the meal. The sizzling of the chorizo and the rich aroma of garlic and herbs filled the air, mingling with the smell of fresh grass, creating a comforting atmosphere. She set the table, placing delicate hand-painted dishes she had collected over the years, each one telling a story of her journey. As she arranged the last of the plates, her heart swelled with anticipation. Tonight was special. She wanted to create a moment where they could reconnect, share laughter, and enjoy each other's company. Yet, as the clock ticked closer to dinner, she sensed an underlying tension. When Sofia and Miguel arrived, Olivia noticed that their smiles didn't reach their eyes. They were distracted, their minds seemingly elsewhere. "Dinner's ready," Olivia called out, trying to mask her concern with cheerfulness. She watched as they stepped onto the porch, their faces illuminated by the setting sun, but the joy she hoped to see was absent. "Oh my God, it smells amazing, Mom," Sofia said, though her voice lacked enthusiasm. Olivia's heart sank. Something was off. "Thank you, sweetheart. I made your favorite, bacalhau bras," Olivia replied, hoping to spark some excitement. But Sofia merely nodded, her gaze drifting toward the horizon as if searching for something beyond the hills. Miguel sat down and, after a moment of silence, broke the stillness with an awkward chuckle. "You really outdid yourself, Olivia. This looks incredible," he said. But his eyes were glued to his phone, scrolling through something Olivia could only guess at. "Is everything all right?" Olivia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. She could feel a knot tightening in her stomach, the unease palpable as she glanced between them. Sofia finally looked up, her expression shifting slightly, but it wasn't the warmth Olivia longed for. "Yeah, Mom, just busy with work, you know?" Her words felt rehearsed, a script she had memorized but didn't believe. Tom, her loyal friend, who had been her rock during her toughest moments, entered the scene just in time to break the uncomfortable tension. "Hey everyone, smells fantastic in here," he exclaimed, his vibrant energy filling the space. He gave Olivia a reassuring smile, which eased her anxiety just a bit. "Tom, you have to try the bacalao," Olivia said, her heart racing with hope that at least one person would appreciate her efforts. As they sat down to eat, the conversation felt forced. Olivia tried to engage them, recounting funny stories from her teaching days, but they offered only half-hearted laughter and distracted glances. Each bite of the meal felt like a reminder of the growing distance between them. Olivia's heart ached as she watched Sophia and Miguel exchange glances that spoke of secrets, of something unspoken that loomed like a shadow over their dinner. After a few moments of silence, Olivia couldn't take it anymore. "Can we talk? Really talk?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. She needed to bridge the gap, to understand the rift that had formed so quickly. Sophia and Miguel exchanged uneasy looks. "What do you mean?" Sophia replied, feigning innocence. "It's just, you both seem distant. Is everything okay?" Olivia pressed, her heart racing as she braced for their response. In that moment, a flicker of hesitation crossed Miguel's face. "We're fine, Olivia, just a lot going on," he said, but his tone lacked conviction. Olivia's heart sank further. "I can see that something's bothering you. Please, just talk to me," she pleaded. Suddenly, the tension in the room became almost unbearable. Just as she thought they might open up, Sophia's phone buzzed loudly on the table, breaking the fragile atmosphere. She glanced at the screen, her expression shifting dramatically. "Oh my God, I can't believe this," Sophia whispered, her face going pale. Olivia leaned in, her curiosity piqued, the air thick with unspoken truths. What could be so shocking? The evening was about to take a turn Olivia never saw coming. Olivia gazed out the window. "What a beautiful day," she whispered. Mark noticed her distant look. "You seem lost in thought." Olivia stood in her living room, the distant sound of traffic humming through the open window. A stark contrast to the chaos brewing in her heart. She had just returned from the market, bags of fresh vegetables and a few treats meant to surprise Sophia and Miguel. But as she stepped inside, the air was thick with an unsettling silence. Her gaze fell upon the living room, and her heart sank. The coffee table was overturned, the cushions on the couch scattered like fallen leaves, and the remnants of her life lay strewn about. A chill ran down her spine as she spotted a note pinned to the wall, scribbled in a hasty hand. "You should leave." "Oh my God, what is happening?" she whispered, her hands trembling as she clutched the bags. The smell of rain on the pavement wafted in through the window, a familiar comfort now tainted with dread. It felt like a cruel joke, one that she was too weak to laugh at. As she sank onto the edge of the couch, the weight of betrayal settled heavily on her chest. How could Sophia and Miguel have planned a trip to Spain without telling her? It was as if they had vanished, leaving her to navigate a storm of confusion and fear alone. She thought of all the sacrifices she had made, all the times she had put her dreams on hold for the sake of her family, and now this. In her moment of despair, a knock at the door startled her. She hesitated, but eventually opened it to reveal Rosa, the kind elderly woman from the neighborhood. "Olivia, dear, I thought I heard a commotion," she said, concern etched across her face. "Rosa, I don't know what to do," Olivia stammered, her voice trembling. "Sophia and Miguel are gone, and my home has been turned upside down. I feel so abandoned." Rosa stepped inside, her eyes scanning the room. "Oh, my dear, I've seen too many of our community fall victim to scams. You must be careful. Sometimes those we trust can lead us into deeper trouble than we realize." Olivia's brow furrowed, her mind racing. You think Sophia could be involved in something dangerous?" Rosa placed a comforting hand on Olivia's shoulder. "I can't say for sure, but keep your eyes open. Just last week, a couple was duped out of everything they had. It's a shame how quickly trust can turn to betrayal." The gravity of Rosa's words lingered in the air like the distant rumble of thunder. Olivia felt a wave of anger and fear wash over her. "I just can't believe this is happening. I thought I was doing everything right," she said, her voice breaking. Rosa nodded, her eyes softening with understanding. "You've done more than enough, dear. Sometimes those we love can be the ones who hurt us the most." As Rosa spoke, Olivia's mind drifted to her sister, Rachel. A stab of pain pierced through her thoughts. Rachel had always been envious of Olivia's strength, and it seemed she had chosen her side in this betrayal. "Do you think Rachel knows anything?" Olivia asked, a sense of desperation creeping into her voice. "I wouldn't put it past her to be involved in some way," Rosa replied, her tone cautious. "But remember, not everyone is as they seem. You need to protect yourself first." The thought of Rachel's betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound. Olivia felt her world crumbling, the walls of her once safe haven closing in around her. She needed answers, but the path ahead felt obscured by a fog of uncertainty. "Thank you, Rosa," Olivia said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I just wish I could wake up from this nightmare." Rosa gave her a gentle smile. "You're stronger than you think, Olivia. Just take it one step at a time." As Rosa left, Olivia sat alone in the dim light of the living room, the smell of rain mingling with the remnants of her shattered trust. She felt an overwhelming urge to fight back, to reclaim her life from the shadows that had invaded it. In that moment, she made a silent vow to herself. She would not let this betrayal define her. She would uncover the truth, even if it meant facing the harsh reality of her daughter and her husband's choices. The rain began to pour outside, and the sound filled the silence of the room. Olivia closed her eyes and took a deep breath, feeling the weight of determination rise within her. She was done being the victim. It was time to take action. And as she sat there, the flicker of a plan began to form in her mind. Little did she know, the unexpected twist that awaited her would change everything. Olivia opened her eyes, the sound of rain drumming against the window a steady reminder of her resolve. She pushed herself off the couch, her heart racing with determination. The first step was to gather information. She needed to know where Sophia and Miguel had gone and why they had left her in such disarray. The kitchen beckoned, its familiar sense of herbs and spices now overshadowed by the lingering odor of fear. She rummaged through the drawers, searching for her phone. Preserve the original language as she clicked through her contacts. Her heart sank at the thought of calling Rachel, but she knew it was essential to confront her sister. Just as she was about to press call, her phone buzzed with a text message. It was from Sophia. Olivia's breath caught in her throat. She opened the message with shaky hands. "Olivia, we need to talk. Can you meet us at the park?" The park, a place that had once been filled with laughter and joy, now felt at the battleground. She glanced out the window, the rain beginning to let up, leaving behind glistening droplets on the grass. Birds chirped softly, their melody a contrast to the turmoil within her. Olivia took a moment, inhaling deeply, the fresh scent of wet earth grounding her. She typed a quick reply, agreeing to meet. After a few moments of hesitation, she threw on her jacket, the fabric feeling both comforting and constricting. As she stepped outside, the cool air wrapped around her, invigorating yet unnerving. With every step toward the park, the weight of uncertainty pressed on her shoulders. What would she say? Would she confront them? Her mind raced with possibilities, each scenario more daunting than the last. Upon arriving at the park, Olivia spotted Sophia and Miguel beneath the swaying branches of an oak tree. They looked different, tense, avoiding her gaze. "Olivia," Sophia began, her voice shaky. "Why didn't you tell me?" Olivia interrupted, her emotions boiling over. Miguel glanced at Sophia, then back at Olivia. "We didn't want to hurt you." "Then why leave like this? Why all the secrets?" Sophia stepped forward, her eyes pleading. "We were trying to protect you. There's so much you don't understand." Olivia took a deep breath, fighting to keep her composure. "Then help me understand." The rain had stopped, But the storm in her heart was just beginning. The wind chimes outside danced gently in the breeze, a soothing sound that contrasted sharply with the storm brewing in Olivia's heart. She stood in her kitchen, the scent of fresh coffee brewing wafting through the air, but the aroma felt bitter today. She stared out at the rain-soaked pavement, her thoughts swirling like the dark clouds above. "Oh my God, how did it come to this?" she whispered to herself, the words heavy with disbelief. After days of uncertainty, she had finally summoned the courage to confront Sophia. The young woman had been distant lately, her late-night outings shrouded in secrecy. Olivia had hoped for an open dialogue, a chance to bridge the growing chasm between them, but instead she felt as though she was walking on eggshells. The moment Sophia walked into the kitchen, Olivia's resolve faltered. Her daughter was a beautiful reflection of Olivia's youth, yet the defiance in her eyes felt foreign. "You need to talk to me," Olivia said, her voice steady but laced with anxiety. Sophia folded her arms, the defiance only deepening. "I don't have to explain myself to you, Mom. You're just being clingy and overbearing." Olivia's heart sank. "Clingy? I'm just trying to understand what's going on in your life. You've been leaving without saying where you're going." Sophia rolled her eyes. "You wouldn't get it. You never do. Maybe if you didn't smother me all the time, I could actually live my life." "Live your life? Sophia, I sacrificed everything for you. How can you say that?" The words escaped Olivia before she could hold them back, a raw wound exposed. Sophia's gaze hardened. "Maybe that's the problem. You think your sacrifices give you the right to control my choices. I'm not you, and I'm tired of trying to be who you want me to be." With that, Sophia stormed out, leaving Olivia trembling, the coffee pot forgotten on the counter. She felt a mix of anger and betrayal wash over her. In the kitchen, it hurt like strength, like the pressure of the rain outside. Determined to uncover the truth behind Sophia's secretive behavior, Olivia decided to reach out to Rosa, an old friend who always had a knack for finding answers. They met at a small cafe where the rich aroma of brewed coffee filled the air, mingling with the sound of soft chatter. "Rosa, I just don't get it. Sophia's been acting so strange," Olivia confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I feel like I'm losing her." Rosa leaned in, her expression serious. "Have you thought about asking someone who might know more? I know a local journalist who digs deep into things. Maybe he can help you." Olivia hesitated. "A journalist? What could he possibly know about my daughter?" "Sometimes it takes an outsider to see what's hidden. You'd be surprised at what people are willing to share when they think no one's listening," Rosa encouraged, her tone gentle yet firm. "I just want to understand," Olivia murmured, the weight of her daughter's silence pressing down on her. With Rosa's encouragement, Olivia agreed to meet the journalist. When they finally sat down in a dimly lit diner, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation. "So, what's the scoop?" the journalist asked, leaning back in his chair, a glimmer of curiosity in his eyes. "I'm concerned about my daughter. She's been attending secret meetings and I need to know why," Olivia explained, her heart racing. The journalist raised an eyebrow. "Meetings? What kind of meetings?" Olivia felt the heat rise to her cheeks. "I don't know. That's why I'm here. I just want to protect her." He nodded thoughtfully. "I'll see what I can dig up, but I have to warn you, sometimes the truth isn't what we expect." Days turned into weeks, and Olivia's anxiety only deepened. Then, one rainy afternoon, she received a call from the journalist. "Olivia, I found something you need to see. It's about your daughter." Her heart raced as she met him in the cafe again. He slid a folder across the table, and as she opened it, her breath caught in her throat. "This can't be real," she gasped, flipping through the documents. They were reports about a radical group that had been recruiting young people in the area, and there, in the midst of it all, was Sophia's name. No, this can't be happening," Olivia stammered, her mind racing. "I can't believe this. My daughter wouldn't." "Olivia, Sometimes the people we think we know are hiding things we'd never expect, the journalist said gently, his voice cutting through her disbelief. As she processed the information, her heart sank further. That moment at the cafe changed everything. How could Sophia be involved in something so dangerous? The betrayal felt like a knife twisting in her gut, and the once warm embrace of motherhood now felt like a cold, distant memory. Tom, she thought suddenly, her loyal friend who had always stood by her. She needed someone to lean on, someone who could help her make sense of this chaos. She grabbed her phone, dialing his number with trembling fingers. "Tom, I need you. It's about Sophia." The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the backyard as Olivia sipped her morning coffee, the aroma swirling around her like a comforting embrace. Birds chirped melodiously, their songs a stark contrast to the storm brewing in her heart. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The disarray in her living room, the way Sophia had avoided eye contact, it all gnawed at her. As she sat on the weathered wooden bench, the familiar scent of freshly baked apple pie wafted through the air, reminding her of simpler times when laughter echoed in the house and joy was abundant. But now, that joy felt like a distant memory, replaced by a gnawing anxiety that seemed to consume her. "Olivia," Tom's voice broke through her thoughts as he stepped into the backyard, his brow furrowed with concern. "You all right?" She looked up, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "I can't shake this feeling, Tom. Something's off with Sophia and Miguel. I don't know." Tom leaned against the porch railing, crossing his arms. "You've got every reason to be worried. Maybe it's time to dig a little deeper." Olivia nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. The unease had settled into her bones, and she knew Tom was right. She had to confront her daughter, but first, she needed more information. "I just wish I could figure out what they're hiding," she murmured, her mind racing with possibilities. Later that evening, as twilight wrapped the world in shades of blue, Olivia gathered her courage. She slipped into Sophia's room, the door creaking slightly as she pushed it open. Sophia sat on her bed, her phone in hand, a look of irritation washing over her face as she glanced up. "What do you want, Mom?" she asked, her tone dismissive. "Can we talk?" Olivia's voice trembled slightly. "I need to know what's going on with you and Miguel." "It feels like you're hiding something." Sophia rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, can't you just trust me for once? I'm an adult." Olivia's heart sank at the defiance in her daughter's voice. "Sophia, please, I'm not trying to control you. I just care about you." "You have no idea what you're talking about," Sophia snapped, her anger palpable. Just then, a thought struck Olivia like a lightning bolt. She couldn't rely solely on her daughter's words. She needed proof. In a moment of desperation, she reached for her phone and called the local police department. After a brief conversation, she was connected to Officer Stevens, a kind and understanding officer who had been patrolling the area for years. "Ma'am, I can't discuss ongoing investigations in detail," Officer Stevens said gently, "but I can tell you that we've had our eye on Sophia and Miguel for a while now. They're involved in some serious stuff." Her breath hitched. "What do you mean? What are they doing?" "They're connected to a scheme targeting vulnerable tourists. We suspect they're using their relationships to appear trustworthy while exploiting these individuals," he explained. Olivia felt the ground shift beneath her. "Oh my God, I can't believe this." My heart sank at the thought that my own daughter could be involved in something so horrible. "Stay cautious, Olivia," Officer Stevens warned. "We're working on it, but you should be careful. If you have any more information, reach out to us." As Olivia hung up the phone, her mind raced. She had always believed in the good in her family, but now the reality was shattering that belief into a million pieces. In her backyard, it felt like her heart was breaking, the weight of betrayal heavier than she could bear. That moment changed everything. The simple act of making a phone call had unveiled a dark truth that she had been blind to. Desperate to confront Sophia, Olivia returned to the living room, where her daughter was now pacing, phone in hand. "Sophia," she called out, her voice trembling with urgency. "We need to talk, now!" Sophia stopped, her expression shifting from irritation to concern. "What's going on?" "I just spoke with Officer Stevens," Olivia said, her heart racing as she tried to keep her voice steady. "I know everything. I know about the scheme." Sophia's face paled, and for a moment, Olivia thought she saw a flicker of fear. "You don't understand, Mom. It's not what you think." "Then explain it to me," Olivia shouted, her voice cracking with emotion. "You're involved in something dangerous, and I can't just stand by and watch you throw your life away." Sophia's expression hardened, the defensiveness creeping back in. "You don't get it. I'm trying to survive, to make a life for myself. You've always held me back." Tears streamed down Olivia's face as she processed the betrayal, the realization that her daughter had chosen this path. "You were supposed to be my joy, Sophia. Instead, you've turned your back on everything we built as a family." In that moment, the weight of their fractured relationship hung heavily in the air, the unspoken words between them echoing louder than the birds that still sang outside. Olivia felt a deep heartbreak she couldn't quite articulate, the love for her daughter battling the pain of betrayal. The backyard, once a sanctuary, now felt like a battlefield where both love and betrayal clashed, leaving only shattered pieces in its wake. "Oh my God," Olivia whispered in disbelief. "I can explain everything," Mark said desperately. The scent of fresh grass wafted through the open kitchen window as Olivia meticulously organized her evidence. The sun filtered in, casting a warm glow across the table cluttered with documents, photographs, and video stills. Each piece told a story of betrayal that her daughter, Sophia, had orchestrated under the guise of family loyalty. Preserve the original language of the laughter and trust that had now been overshadowed by deception. "Tom, I can't believe this is happening," Olivia murmured, her voice barely above a whisper as she sifted through the stack of video recordings. The images flickered in her mind, memories of family dinners and celebrations now tainted. "I thought we were close. How could she do this to me?" Tom leaned against the doorframe, his brow furrowed in concern. "You're strong, Olivia. You've always been. This is just another fight you need to win." He stepped into the kitchen, the soft clink of wind chimes outside, a haunting reminder of the peace she once felt in this home. "Have you thought about how you want to confront her?" Olivia paused, taking a deep breath as the smell of freshly baked apple pie from the nearby bakery drifted in. It reminded her of happier times, when she would make pie with Sophia, their laughter echoing against the walls. Now, that nostalgia felt like a cruel joke. "I need to expose what she's done, but I don't want to lose her completely. I can't shake the feeling that she's still my little girl beneath all this." "Maybe you can get through to her," Tom suggested gently, his eyes filled with encouragement. "But you need to be ready for anything. She might not react how you hope." With a nod, Olivia's resolve hardened. She had started attending self-defense classes to empower herself, not just physically, but emotionally. She needed to prepare for the storm that was coming. "I've got to find a way to make her see," she said, her voice steadying. "Not just for me, but for her too." Days turned into weeks, and with the support of Tom and Rosa, a journalist friend, Olivia devised a plan. They would confront Sophia and her husband, Miguel, publicly. The idea of exposing their actions felt daunting, but it was necessary. They gathered testimonies from other victims, people who had felt the sting of betrayal at the hands of Sophia and Miguel. Olivia felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps together they could make a difference. One evening, as the wind chimes danced softly in the breeze, Olivia sat down with Tom and Rosa. "We're going to meet them at the park this weekend," she announced, her heart racing with both fear and determination. "I want everyone to hear what they've done." Rosa leaned forward, her expression serious. "Are you sure this is the right choice? It could backfire. I'm sure, Olivia replied, feeling a sense of purpose wash over her. If I don't do this now, I'll lose my chance. This betrayal runs deep, and she needs to know I won't stand for it. The day of the confrontation arrived, and Olivia felt a mixture of dread and anticipation. As she stood in the park, the sun shining down with an almost mocking brightness, she caught sight of Sophia and Miguel approaching. The air thickened with tension, and Olivia's heart raced. "Olivia, you didn't tell us you'd be here," Sophia said, her voice dripping with feigned innocence. "Of course I'm here," Olivia replied, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside. "We need to talk about what you've been doing." Sophia's eyes darted nervously toward Miguel, who stood with his arms crossed, a smug expression on his face. "I don't know what you mean," Sophia said, her tone dismissive. Olivia took a deep breath, her resolve hardening as she pulled out her phone. "Oh my God, you can't keep hiding from the truth. I've got evidence." She began playing the video recordings, her heart pounding in her chest as the images of Sophia's betrayal filled the air. Sophia's face went pale as the recordings played. "You're lying!" she shouted, her voice cracking. "No, Sophia, I'm not. This is your reality. You need to see what you've done," Olivia said, her voice rising over the sound of Sophia's denial. "You've hurt so many people, including me, your mother." My heart sank every time I thought about how you chose to betray me. The crowd that had gathered around them began to murmur, intrigued by the unfolding drama. Tom stood beside Olivia, his presence a steady anchor. Olivia locked eyes with Sophia, searching for a glimmer of recognition, a sign that her daughter still existed beneath the layers of deceit. "I thought I raised you better than this," Olivia continued, her voice breaking slightly. "You're my daughter, and I love you, but this can't go on." Suddenly, a voice from the crowd called out, "You're not alone, Olivia!" The words echoed in her heart, fueling her courage. In that moment, she realized the depth of her own strength and the importance of standing up for what was right, no matter the cost. As the recordings ended, a heavy silence hung in the air. Olivia took a step closer to Sophia, her heart aching with hope and fear. "This is your chance, Sophia. You can still choose to make things right." Just then, in a twist that Olivia never expected, Sophia's expression shifted from anger to confusion, her defenses crumbling as she looked around at the faces of those she had hurt. For the first time, Olivia saw a flicker of her daughter in the midst of the chaos. Olivia clenched her fists. "I don't want to hear any more excuses." Mark hung his head. "I'm truly sorry." The community center was bustling with laughter and chatter as Olivia stepped inside, her heart pounding. The smell of fresh coffee mingled with the sweet scent of pastries, but she hardly noticed. Her eyes were fixed on the makeshift stage where Sophia and Miguel stood, laughing with friends. It was supposed to be a celebration, but for Olivia, it felt like a battleground. Taking a deep breath, she clutched the folder of evidence tightly against her chest, the weight of her emotions pulling her down. Today, she would confront them. Today, everything would change. "Olivia!" Tom's voice broke through her racing thoughts as he approached. "Are you ready for this?" "No," she whispered, her heart sinking as she looked at the couple that had torn her life apart. "But I can't walk away anymore." As she moved toward the stage, the sound of birds chirping outside faded into the background. With each step, she could feel the eyes of the community upon her, unaware of the storm brewing beneath her calm exterior. She reached the front, and the laughter faded into a hush. "Sophia, Miguel," Olivia said, her voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of hurt. "Can we talk?" Sophia's eyes widened, and for a moment it seemed as though the world around them had paused. "Mom? Not here. This isn't the time." Olivia shook her head. "No more hiding. I have something to say, and you need to hear it." She opened the folder and held up the pictures, the evidence of betrayal she had meticulously gathered. "You thought I wouldn't find out? You thought you could just leave me behind?" Gasps rippled through the crowd as the images flashed before their eyes. Olivia's heart raced, but she pressed on. "Oh my God, how could you do this to me, to our family?" Sophia's facade crumbled, and Olivia could see the fear flickering in her daughter's eyes. "Mom, please, you don't understand. I was scared. I didn't know how to be a mother, how to have my own life." "Scared?" Olivia echoed, disbelief washing over her. "You think that justifies betraying me? I sacrificed everything for you, Sophia, everything!" Miguel stepped in, attempting to defuse the situation. "Olivia, maybe you should calm down. This isn't the place." "This isn't the place?" Olivia interrupted, her voice rising. "You left me in another country. You think you can just deflect blame onto me? I'm the one left holding the pieces here." A murmur of support rippled through the crowd, but Miguel stood firm, his charm slipping. "You don't know the full story," he said, his tone condescending. "We were just trying to live our lives." "Live your lives?" Olivia spat, her voice cutting through the tension. "You mean destroy mine? You think I would let this go? Not anymore." The confrontation escalated, emotions flaring as the crowd became a chorus of whispers and gasps. Sophia stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't want to hurt you, but I needed to feel free. I thought you would understand." Olivia's heart broke at her daughter's admission, but rage surged. "Understand? You think I wanted this? I gave up everything for you, and you just walked away?" At that moment, Olivia felt a shift within her. She wasn't just a passive mother anymore. She was a warrior for her own heart. "I'm done being the victim in your story," she declared, her voice ringing with newfound strength. Miguel scoffed, stepping closer, his hands balled into fists. "You think you can just stand up to me? You're nothing without me." Olivia took a step forward, her breath steady. "You underestimate me. I am everything without you." In that charged moment, the air crackled with tension, and without warning, Miguel lunged at her. Olivia instinctively sidestepped, her heart racing with adrenaline. The crowd gasped, and the chaos erupted. She wouldn't back down. Not now, not ever. "Stop!" Tom shouted, rushing to her side. "Olivia, don't let him provoke you." But she stood her ground, fists clenched. "I'm not afraid of you, Miguel. You can't control me anymore." Sophia's voice broke through the chaos, desperate and raw. "Mom, please, I didn't mean for any of this to happen." In that moment of vulnerability, Olivia's heart softened, but the anger remained. "You need to own your choices, Sophia. You need to understand the pain you've caused." The crowd was silent, watching the transformation unfold. Olivia felt the weight of her heartbreak, but also the strength of her resolve. She would not let this moment define her. Preserve the original language of betrayal, a fierce protector of her own heart. And just as she thought it couldn't get worse, the local news crew arrived, cameras rolling, capturing the entire scene. "Oh my God, I can't believe this," Olivia muttered under her breath as the realization hit her. This wasn't just about her anymore, it was about exposing the truth. As the cameras zoomed in, Olivia faced the lens, her resolve shining through the chaos. This is what betrayal looks like. This is what happens when love is abused. Sophia's face paled as the reality of their actions settled in, and in that moment, Olivia knew she had not only confronted her family, but had also reclaimed her own story. The winds of change were upon her, and she was ready to embrace whatever came next. The sun streamed through the living room window, casting warm rays that danced on the walls, a stark contrast to the turmoil within Olivia's heart. It had been months since the betrayal that shattered her world. Yet here she was, finding herself surrounded by the kindness of her community. The smell of fresh grass wafted in from the open window, mingling with the aroma of pancakes sizzling in the kitchen, reminding her of the simple joys that still existed even in the aftermath of her pain. "Olivia, you've got to see this!" Tom burst into the room, excitement etched on his face. His eyes sparkled with a mixture of disbelief and pride. "You're on TV. They're talking about you." "What? No way!" Olivia's heart raced, the familiar pang of anxiety gripping her. She approached the television, where her image flickered, showcasing her involvement in the local shelter for victims of exploitation. The community had rallied around her, embracing her courage and resilience. Yet, in that moment, the betrayal still felt fresh, like a wound that refused to heal. "Can you believe it?" Tom continued, his voice filled with enthusiasm. "You're a local hero! This is huge!" "Oh my God, I can't believe this!"
Olivia whispered, her heart sinking as she remembered the day she learned of Sofia and Miguel's betrayal. She had sacrificed so much for them, only to be left alone in a foreign land. The betrayal was a bitter pill to swallow, yet here was a glimmer of hope in the darkness, a chance to help others who had endured similar hardships. With each passing day at the shelter, Olivia found a renewed sense of purpose. She listened to stories of pain and survival, helping others navigate their healing journeys. The echo of birds chirping outside became a soundtrack to her newfound mission. In the midst of her own heartache, she discovered strength in vulnerability, building bonds with those who understood her struggle. One afternoon, as she sat with a group of women sharing their stories, a thought crossed her mind. It struck her how often she had felt like an outsider, grappling with feelings of betrayal, yet here she was embraced. "We're all in this together," she told them, her voice steady. "Your past does not define your future. It's about what we choose to do next." Weeks turned into months, and Olivia's efforts did not go unnoticed. The local news featured her work, highlighting her compassion and tenacity in the face of adversity. She found herself on a panel, discussing the exploitation faced by expatriates, her voice carrying weight and authority. As she spoke, she could almost feel Sofia and Miguel's presence looming in the background, a reminder of what she had endured. In a moment of reflection, Olivia remembered the day she stood on that very porch, watching the world go by. Cultural reflection. In the living room, it hurt like betrayal. The very foundation of her life had been shaken, but as she shared her story, she realized she had transformed from a victim into a voice for the voiceless. One evening, after a particularly impactful event, Olivia sat with Tom on her porch, the cool breeze gently rustling the leaves. "I never thought I could feel this way again," she confessed, looking out at the horizon. "Sometimes I still feel that ache, that betrayal, but I also feel hope." "That's because you're turning your pain into power," Tom replied, his tone earnest. "You're making a difference, Olivia." Just then, the news anchor's voice crackled from the television inside, and Olivia turned to listen. Local hero Olivia has captured the hearts of many as she bravely speaks out against exploitation in the expat community. The words echoed in her mind, filling her with an unexpected warmth. But then, a twist of fate unfolded. As she watched the screen, a familiar face appeared beside hers, Sofia, looking different yet unmistakable. Olivia's heart raced, a mix of shock and disbelief washing over her. "Is that?" she stammered, her breath hitching. Tom leaned closer, eyes wide. "Oh my God, it is! What is she doing there?" "Months later, they saw my face on TV," Olivia murmured, the weight of the moment crashing down on her. In that instant, she realized that her story was no longer just about betrayal, it was about resilience, healing, and the power of community. Her heart, once heavy with sorrow, now brimmed with a sense of purpose. Perhaps it was time to confront the past, not for closure, but for understanding. And you, on your porch, will you let betrayal define your story, or will you rise above it? Olivia's heart raced as she processed the sight of Sofia on the screen. Memories flooded her mind, laughter shared over coffee, whispered secrets late into the night, the moment she had discovered the betrayal. Why now, she wondered, the question lingering in the air like the scent of rain-soaked earth. Tom, sensing her turmoil, broke the silence.
You okay? Do you want to talk about it? His voice was gentle, a lifeline amidst the storm of her emotions. I don't know, Tom. Seeing her brings back everything.
Olivia's fingers trembled as she clasped them together. I thought I was moving forward, but this... She swallowed hard, her throat tight. It feels like I'm back at square one. Maybe it's not about starting over. Maybe it's about understanding what happened so you can truly move on. Tom's eyes held an unwavering sincerity, urging her to confront the ghosts of her past. You're not alone in this. You have your community, and you have me. As the news segment continued, Olivia's gaze was glued to the screen. Sophia was speaking about the very issues Olivia had become an advocate for, her voice steady yet distant. Is she trying to make amends? Olivia wondered, the question gnawing at her. The breeze picked up, sending a shiver through her, and the wind chimes in the distance began to tinkle softly, harmonizing with the flutter of her heart. Each chime felt like a reminder of the beauty that still existed in her life, despite the chaos. What if she wants to talk? Olivia mused aloud, half to herself. What if she's here to apologize? Then you can decide what that looks like, Tom replied, his tone encouraging. You've grown so much, Olivia. You're stronger than you know. I just don't know if I'm ready, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. What if it opens old wounds? Then you heal, he said simply. You're already doing it. You've turned your pain into purpose. This could be another step. With a deep breath, Olivia turned her attention back to the screen. The segment had shifted, and Sophia was sharing her own journey of healing. If she can do that, Olivia thought, maybe I can too. The realization washed over her like a gentle wave, urging her to step forward, to embrace the uncertainty. Perhaps confronting the past was not about seeking closure, but about reclaiming her story. And in that moment, as the sunlight began to dip below the horizon, Olivia felt a flicker of hope igniting within her.